Hey guys, welcome back to Starcastic Remarks, and alongside James and Chris, my name is Ryan Chambers. We are the official Dallas Stars podcast of THPN. As always, we thank our sponsor, DraftKings Sportsbook. That promo code is THPN. If you're watching on YouTube, that's up at the top right-hand corner of the screen. Once again, THPN is the promo code there. If you're here for the first time, we'd love for you to stick around, and also we'd love it if you guys would hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode of Starcastic Remarks. Well, for those of you that are watching live, I apologize. I had some major boomer computer issues, and I was getting very frustrated with it. And I am on one of my work computers because my personal computer decided it didn't want to open Google Chrome. So I apologize for being late, but nonetheless, we're here. We're going to talk some Stars hockey, but first off, Chris, James, how are you guys doing? Y'all feeling okay today?
Man has 7 computers and doesn't know how any of them work.
Yes. I even called myself a boomer before we started recording here.
You called yourself that after as well. I just heard it.
Yeah, I know. It's frustrating.
I've been a little sick the last couple of days, but hockey's back, so it's a good distraction.
Yes, that is true.
Hot on the mute button tonight.
Yes. Well, it is officially October. That was the one thing I couldn't believe. It's Bantober for my job, and so things are fixing to go nuts for me in terms of marching band. But in terms of hockey, we have the first game here in 7 days? 8 days? Something like that. It's just a little over a week. And it looks like that it's really starting to get super exciting for Stars fans. There's a lot of things that we need to talk about. Lots of things have happened since the last time we have talked. And we're just going to jump into a couple of things, including, I guess I was prophesying really well in our last episode. We've seen a lot of major injuries, obviously, to Jamie Benn on the Stars side, but we'll talk about some others as well. And then we're also going to take a look at some recent contract extensions that have been signed around the NHL, and we'll make it about the Dallas Stars. We'll see how you'll understand how that works here in just a second. And then with the injury to Jamie Benn, we're also going to kind of jump into where are the line combos going to look like? Are we going to see Ritzy, Justin Ritskovian, make his NHL debut in terms of, on the opening night roster? I know he had some games last year and filling in, but it would be cool for him to make the roster. Or is it Arttu Huru maybe? Or is it someone else that we're not really talking about yet? We'll get into all of that here today. But first off, we got to jump into the biggest news for the Dallas Stars right now, and that's the collapsed lung of Jamie Benn. That was very surprising to hear. Yep. It didn't look like much from what Robert Tiffin and Sam kind of put out there. What they thought was the hit that caused the collapsed lung, but sometimes it's just those little freaky little things that kind of cause a major injury. And Jamie Benn immediately had surgery. He is out for about 4 weeks, but I think it's about 4 to 6 is the official word. And I think he just returned home either yesterday or the day before. So what was y'all's thoughts on Jamie Benn when you first heard the news of him being injured?
Yeah, they posted a clip of his last shift in the preseason game, and the only thought I had was that's a great shift for only having one lung.
Yeah, it's scary stuff, but it sounds like they caught it instantly, which is just good on the staff as a whole there. That's the kind of things that you want to see get caught very quickly, because that can become a problem very fast.
Not saying I've ever had a collapsed lung, but I can't imagine that's it feels great to have. I can imagine it being very painful, on top of probably not being able to breathe very well. But so obviously there's lots of different tangents we can go with Jamie Benn and with his injury. First off, I'm just glad that he's okay and that he's safe and it doesn't seem to be affecting his career moving forward. And I mean, we've seen crazy little things like that affect players' careers, and that's a career-ending injury, and that's it. And then they never play hockey again. So I'm just glad that they caught it and everything like that. But in terms of his on ice play and maybe even his off ice play, is this going to affect the Dallas Stars majorly? Should we be panicking with the fact that he is not going to be playing to start the season?
Not panicking, obviously. He's now a third line player, so it's a little bit easier to replace the pure production. I think more interesting than the production is going to be who kind of replaces his leadership role. I mean, we've already seen a couple of kind of behind the scene clips of Mikko bantering with the boys and being a leadership role, and Gulletson and Nil both talked about how he may not have an A on his sweater, but he's going to be expected to be a big part of the leadership for the hockey team. And there's an extra letter now, so maybe Mikko does get an A to start the season after all, now that there's going to be an extra one up for grabs. So that it is interesting to see who's going to fill that spot. And I think there's a couple of guys who have a really good chance, and some Texas Stars that I got to watch a lot of last year that I think will get a real extended shot in the NHL, which is really cool. But the leadership is the long-term thing that could actually be a benefit for the Stars. Because if someone's able to fill that void in a good way, and then Benn's able to come back and you just have that much more leadership on the team, it could be really beneficial.
Yeah, I think more than anything, it's just thrown a big old rock in the gears of what Gulletson was trying to figure out what to do with all the lines. I mean, he had Benn playing with Sagan and Duchesne there in that preseason game, and it looked pretty good. That was definitely a big possibility going into the opening night roster. So that's definitely thrown a wrench in his plan. So. He's just going to have to figure out something else. We saw Ritzy play up in the lineup some, and he looked great there. And I think really it can only be good for a team who has a new coach he's going to get to see a lot more different types of combinations than he would if Benn just clicked there on the second line and he just keeps it that way.
Right. To caveat me and James, we're not saying it's good that Benn got hurt, but the timing of him getting hurt is better now than later in the season, I think.
And I think a lot of people discount how important he really is to this team. And obviously his role has not been the same, especially towards the end of the last season, and in the playoffs, we saw his role was even further relegated from that third line role that he was playing pretty well last year. But I agree with you, Chris, that I think that's the biggest thing is who's going to step up in that leadership role. And I mean, you hate to rely upon Mikko Rantanen for even further, because we're already having to rely upon him for just the offensive points, just the stats on the sheet. But that's why he gets paid $12 million, right? I mean, he has to be the guy that steps up. He has to be the guy that says, I've been there, done that. I know what it's like to win a Stanley Cup in the NHL. But the one other guy I do want to highlight a little bit that I think deserves a little bit more credit, and I think he's going to have to step up even further, is Tyler Seguin. I think in a vocal role, I think he is going to be more critical to start the season than ever before. I think Mikko Rantanen can do a little bit of the vocal stuff. I think you would rely upon him more to do the on-ice stuff that Jamie Benn does. He can throw his weight around like Jamie Benn does. I think Seguin is going to have to step up even further and be more of a vocal leader with Benn out of the lineup. That's my personal opinion. I'm curious to know what y'all's thoughts are, and maybe I'm looking at the wrong player.
I think Mikko does have the role of trying to kind of bridge the gap that's there between the Canadian and American players and the Finnish players on this team too. I mean, he's the best guy on the team. I mean, people are going to respect what he has to say, and he really could make that a closer knit group by bringing together the Finns and the North Americans. So I think that is one of the roles that Mikko's going to have, and in his leadership capacity.
What do you think, James? Am I crazy in thinking that Seguin needs to be more vocal, or does he just need to keep doing
I think he always is that. I think he does that all the time. That's what he's been doing, and he absolutely needs to keep on doing it.
And I mean, the media has talked about before how Jamie Benn is more the leader by example. and then Sagan is the more vocal one in the locker room already. I mean, that's always been kind of a thing that's been talked about with this team. So I don't expect it to be too much different for Sagan. You're really going to be looking at other people other than him. I think he already is a massive leader in the room. I don't think there's much for him to step up into.
Yeah, this is a random thought that I can't believe I just considered. It popped into my head, but what about Wyatt Johnston? I mean, could this be an opportunity for him to kind of jump into a more leadership role? I know he was wearing an A at times last year. I personally view him as the next captain of this franchise. I'm not saying this is a passing of the torch already or anything like that, but is this the first glimpse that we see of him maybe taking on like a captain role, or am I just crazy?
I don't think you're crazy. I think that's reasonable, especially with the way that Johnston plays and the way that Johnston talks about the game. It's very much he's very much captain material. I'll just say that.
And then again, there's also lots of other guys that can fill those roles. I mean, Esa Lindell, I think, is another perfect example of leading by example. He's a very quiet guy, but he can do that. Same thing with Miro. He can lead by example as well. And we could see both of those guys take on a bigger role moving forward. But the other thing that this injury kind of opens up, and Chris, I'll let you kind of talk about it a little bit more, because this opens up a roster spot for a couple of different players. I truly believe this is Justin Ritzkovian's time to shine. I think this is his opportunity to take the spot that's there and, kind of solidify it for himself. Because I don't think that you need somebody to play a fourth line role. And Ritzkovian is absolutely that guy. He's not a guy that needs to be playing fourth line minutes if he's up in the NHL. He is a perfect middle six guy, I think, for what the skills he possesses and what he can do for a team on the ice. So is it Ritzy's spot to lose, or is there somebody else we should maybe be looking at, Chris?
Yeah, I think it definitely is his spot to lose at this point, especially with how he's played in those preseason games thus far. And this is kind of what I said in one of my articles for 100 Degree Hockey is, like, if there is a long-term injury in a higher spot in the Stars lineup, Ritzkovian is slotted to fill that really well with his high skill and his high compete level. And it's so far he's proven that in the preseason. I'd really want to see what he can do even higher up in the lineup. So I'd like to see him on that Sagan Duchesne line and really just throw him in a position where he needs to put up points to be deemed a success on that line. So if the second line's not scoring, I mean, it's not doing well. That's just the fact of the matter. So throwing Ritzkovian into that kind of spot, in a similar spot where he was with Texas, where he was the Texas's top line center, he was relied on for points. He was one of their best point producers in the playoffs. So putting him in that similar kind of spot, I think, would be really good. He also just fits in with the Stars lineup because he is a left wing when he is a winger. So he just naturally fits there, where the Stars have pretty much no other left wingers other than Robertson now that Jamie's hurt. So that just makes sense. And yeah, like you said, he's a higher skill guy. The other guy who might have a shot at it still is Huru. He's a little bit more of your bigger fourth liner kind of guy. So when Jamie Benn initially went down, I was thinking he's probably the guy they're looking at first, just because, you want to have a bigger guy, a little bit meatier, a little bit stauncher on the defensive side of the puck. But I'm glad with how this coaching staff has evaluated it, and they recognize the skill that Ritzkovian has, and they see maybe there's a little bit higher skill there with Ritzkovian. Maybe it's a higher floor for Huru, but Ritzkovian can actually fill in one of these holes on the left side that you have higher up in the lineup. And it might even be a better option than Sam Steele is, because I mean, for my money, he hasn't been fantastic higher up in the lineup in the preseason. So you have to take that with a grain of salt, of course. But I'm not convinced that Steele is able to execute on those chances that he gets himself in. Whereas I've seen Ritzkovian do it all of last season and do it in high pressure moments. I think he is a lot more capable of putting those pucks home when he gets the opportunities.
Yeah, I think really that scoring is the biggest thing here. I mean, we've talked about all offseason how many goals we've lost from players leaving, and who's going to replace those goals, who needs to replace those goals. And people keep saying Sam Steele is going to replace some of those goals. It's just,
I don't see it.
From what we have seen from Sam Steele from his whole career, it does not make sense. It just doesn't. He is a perfect fourth, third line center. And he is outstanding there. He's high skill. He can make defensive players miss often. But like you said, Chris, he does not score goals. That's just not what he does. He's made it to 10 goals once in his 7-season career. So
right.
Asking that from him's I think that's a much taller task than asking someone new to the NHL like Ritzkovian, who you don't know. Maybe he can get past 10 goals.
Right. And that's where I was going to play devil's advocate with you, James, because it does make sense. Whereas the eye test says Sam Steele can score 20 goals. Like, you watch him play, you're like, that guy for sure
he
can
should
score
be able
20.
to.
But he's proven he can't for whatever reason.
It's the strangest thing. I mean, he's so much fun to watch too.
He's got the skill. It's just he's never seemed to be able to do it at the NHL level, which is
hard to
crazy.
Score goals in the NHL. Go figure.
The biggest thing that I think Ritzkovian would bring to a second line is he would bring a lot of youth to that line. So especially with Duchesne and Sagan. And yes, agreed. Speed would help tremendously too. But I think with Duchesne and Sagan is going to use his hockey IQ in a similar role that Pavelski kind of did on that top line a couple of years ago. Like, he's just going to be at the right place at the right time all the time. Duchesne's going to work his magic and do his dangleness. And then I think Ritzkovian can go in there and just be for lack of a better term, a bulldog on the puck. Like, go into the corners and go after it. Because I've seen him do that at the AHL level too. He's not afraid to get into the dirty areas of the ice.
Yeah, he can get scrappy. I wouldn't call him physical, but he hunts the puck for sure.
I like the word scrappy because I agree with you. He's not quite that physical player, even though he has had a fight in the last 2 years in the preseason. But I like that word, scrappy, and I think that's something that that Glenn Golitzin is kind of looking for in his team. But that's kind of why Foxa kind of came back. Foxa is not necessarily scrappy. He's more the physical player, but he has definitely got that scrappiness to him, which is why he got re-signed back to Dallas. So that's an interesting aspect in Ritzkovian's game that I could see him, for the reason why he would get Jamie Benn's spot for the time being.
Well, and Fox is now a top-tier goal scorer. Did you see that high school?
Oh my word!
Yeah, I know.
That was the most Foxa goal ever. That is Foxa. I mean, he missed the shot and it slid through the goaltender's legs.
Yeah, right.
An hour.
Oh, now he's back.
Yeah, Chris.
Hi. I said I think Foxa shot that puck about 20 miles an hour.
I love I forget who it was. There was a pitcher who threw I think it was just like 50 miles an hour, and it hit the batter, and the batter like dramatically fell to the ground. That's what that reminded me of when watching that shot. I was just like very similar to that. Okay. Anything else in terms of Jamie Benn? Any other tangents? Any other rabbit holes we need to jump down? No.
Nope,
okay.
I don't think so. It'll be fun to see what happens on that left side. That should
I am very excited
out
for
by the next preseason game.
I am very excited for Justin. I really hope he gets the spot.
We should mention it. Do you think Adam Ernie has a shot at getting that spot?
I would normally say no, but he's still there.
Yeah, he's still there, which is crazy.
So there's something that the coaching staff and maybe specifically goalie sees in him. And to be honest with you, I am a little bit surprised that he's still there and that R2 Huru is not. Like, I would have expected to see Ritzy and Huru still there at this point and not Adam Ernie. So
Ernie's played a really solid preseason. I think if there was a fourth line spot available, he would be signed with the Stars right now.
We just have 12 fourth liners.
Right. We already have 4 fourth liners. We don't need another one. So I think he's earned a spot somewhere else. But I don't think he could actually fill a higher up role in the lineup. I think it's the same thing as trying to fit Sam Steele in a spot like that.
I think if we have an injury to Foxa, to Beck to
Yeah.
Blackwell, whatever, he's probably the first guy they call up in that role. But if we have
if
another
they sign him
injury
to an
too,
AHL deal,
yeah, that's true.
he's still on a PTO.
But if you're looking for someone in like the middle six, then you're calling up Huru. I think that's the logical idea. I do want to jump into this a little bit in the fact that the Texas Stars are going to look severely depleted, Chris. I don't know if you've seen that. I mean, it is. Woo! I didn't realize like how bad it was in terms of in terms of injuries. But I mean, there's like Cameron Hughes, who is a big time player for the Texas Stars. He's out week to week. Chase Wheatcroft, who they relied upon for points in the past, is week to week.
Middle six guy.
Yeah, Kyle McDonald is week to week. And then even, I know Luke Chris is not a huge deal, but he's still played in the top 6 for the Texas D. So he's also out. So
he was top 4 a lot too. When Bishop went out, I mean, I'd probably say Luke Chris was your number 4 defender for the Texas Stars. So yeah, I mean, and if Ritzkovian is taken out too, that's their top line center. I mean, it is going to be a rough start for the Texas Stars. They're going to be hanging on, and they're doing all this while trying to figure out probably a new system. I assume they're going to be running the same thing that Gulletson was. I think I read something about that in a earlier interview that Peterson did.
He's trying to do
probably going to be instituting a new system right now. The training camp this was their first day, and they're going to be without all of those players. And they're going to be trying to fill in a bunch of new players. So Tristan Bertucci is going to have his first year of AHL hockey. So that'll be really interesting. Probably the highest touted Stars prospect right now. Angus McDonnell, Goose, is playing his first AHL season. He's going to be scrapping for 4th or 3rd line role, I'd assume. But I think he's a guy who could move up the lineup pretty quickly with that shot of his. He's pretty lethal. And then kind of the surprising one we saw was Emil Hemming is actually assigned to the Texas Stars. He is 19. He's eligible to play in major junior hockey again, which most teams would do, especially for a guy like Hemming. He didn't light up the junior leagues. He was less than a point per game, which is pretty low for a first-round prospect in the juniors. But it looks like the Stars are taking him straight to Cedar Park. So my question there is like, I feel like they've got to see something. Like they see a part of his game, and maybe Toby Peterson himself. I mean, he was a skills development coach for the Avalanche, remember? Maybe he sees something in Emil Hemming. He's like, I can fix that. Give me him. I will fix it. I will do it myself. And they don't want to send him off to Barrie to have another coaching staff. They want to be hands-on, get whatever issue they see fixed, and get them going in professional hockey. I could totally see that being the case.
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. I agree with you. I think that maybe just a change of scenery from Barrie and just playing in a more professional environment will get him going. And maybe that's something they can think of. But I think it's also literally just out of necessity. Like the Stars, I don't want to call them baby Stars. The Texas Stars just don't have the depth because they're out a lot of key pieces right now. And it doesn't look all that fantastic for the Texas Stars, but it's also like a huge opportunity for him to see if he can get going.
Yeah, there is one other factor. It could be he's playing Canadian junior hockey as a kid coming over from Finland. So there's might be a little bit of a comfortability factor where he'd rather be around Stars coaching staff that he knows and be close to those Finnish players up in Dallas a little bit more. So that definitely could be another factor too. But it's just really interesting seeing a guy who's eligible to play juniors who definitely could benefit from it being put in the AHL instead. So it's definitely for me. It's awesome because I get to watch a first round pick this year, which we hadn't seen in Texas in a little bit. So that'll be great. And it'll be interesting to see why they did it. And I mean, we have media availability for Texas Stars on Tuesday. That's going to be probably one of the first questions I ask Coach Peterson. So we'll see what they have to say.
Keep us posted, Chris.
Yes.
What?
And
keep us posted.
Oh yeah, I'll keep you posted. Check out 100degreehockey.com to keep posted on that. Now ad free.
All right. I want to get with you guys about some of these injuries that we're seeing across the NHL because I said this last week in the fact that it felt like a lot more players were getting seriously injured, and we were going to be without a lot of big time stars across the NHL to at least begin the NHL season. And that has just escalated extremely quickly. Obviously, the biggest name of all of them is Alexander Barkov, Sasha Barkov. He's out the regular season, and he might be even done for the entire 25-26 campaign. Like, he might not even play in the playoffs. So I don't remember exactly what it was. It had something to do with ACL, MCL, a little bit of both.
Yeah, it was
maybe
both.
It was both. Yeah.
Okay, so it was
both.
both. That's what I thought. Okay, so the timeline for him was 7 to 9 months, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like, wow. But he's not the only one on this list that I'm like, this is nuts. Like, there's some big time players on here that I am utterly shocked are on here. I mean, Lucas Dostal, the starting goalie for the Anaheim Ducks. You've got Vince Dunn up in Seattle. JT Miller, who was just named the captain of the New York Rangers, is day to day with an injury. And then we've even got some players like Ivan Demidov, who is supposed to be the he's has the ability to be the Calder Trophy winner as the Rookie of the Year this year. He's the favorite to win it right now. He has an injury right now. Jonathan Taves, that everyone was worried about him coming back and playing with Winnipeg and him supporting the Jets in a second line role, and he is now day to day. And I'm sure I'm forgetting a whole lot of other. I mean, Dorofeev, the leading goal scorer for the Vegas Golden Knights last year. It's just all over the place. So again, I'll ask you. Am I crazy, or does it feel like that these injuries are piling up and there's even more this year than I think we've ever seen?
Yeah, now I'm on your side. There are way more injuries now. I think you cursed the league, and Jamie Benn is all your fault.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to see the Panthers losing him. Barkov, thank you. Is really it puts their playoff potential in the balance, because they don't
Barkov
have Matthew Tkachuk to start the season either. And I mean, that is something crazy. I mean, they made the playoffs last year by just a couple of points. I mean, they were just barely into the playoffs. So, I mean, they can definitely take a step back, miss the playoffs, and you have the back-to-back Stanley Cup champions not even in the playoffs. That would be nuts.
And I think that's a real possibility now.
I highly doubt they miss the playoffs. That's just me, because you've still got guys like Sam Reinhart. You've still got Carter Verhaeghe. You've still got Brad Marchand, which I know he's probably not going to do what he did in the playoffs.
Yeah,
in the
Reinhart and Marchand are only playoff munchers. So put them in a regular season game, they're pylons.
Yeah, they're straight up. They're straight up Ryan Suiters, right? Exactly. But like this team is still really good. Like, the Florida Panthers are still really good, and they also have some depth to make up for some of those lost points. And no one is going to replace those guys, but you still got Lusterinen there. I cannot believe I forgot his name. Oh my goodness. It's another Finnish guy. He's called Barkov Light. Lundell, Anton Lundell.
Yeah.
That's the guy's name.
I did not know they called him Barkov Light.
He plays a very similar game to.
They should have called him Finnish Foxa.
Finnish. I like that, but and then they've even got a second year player in. I think his name is Samiskevich. I think is his last name.
Right.
And he has the potential to be a 20-goal scorer. And he's probably in a similar role to Justin Ritzkovian right now with the injuries that the Florida Panthers have. He has the ability to step up into the lineup and play a bigger role than he probably would have done with Tkachuk and Barkov both in the lineup. So, I mean, again, I'm looking at some of these names. Vasilevsky is still hurt. Hedman, Zuccarello, Jacob Slavin, Bowen Byram. Like, it's just, it is just mind-boggling to see the amount of names on this list. And
it's a good thing we've got an easy schedule this year. It gives people plenty of time to heal up, you know?
Exactly.
You know what we should do? We should have 2 more games.
Yes, we should do that, shouldn't we, Chris? I like that idea. 100%. Well, anyways, I just wanted to get y'all's opinions on that because, again, it's just crazy nuts where it seems to be headed this right now. So
it's weird, and I think the Stars are getting off easy by having our captain be injured for a month and a half. Like,
well, could this be a blessing in disguise to kind of tie it up in a bow with Jamie Benn being hurt? Could this be a blessing in disguise, or do you think the Stars are going to miss him a ton?
That's what me and James are saying, is like other people can step up. If it was going to happen, now's the time for it to have happened.
Because if it goes bad, then he's going to come back.
He's going to come back and it'll be fixed. But the bad thing is that it might take a Gulletson system a little bit longer to get implemented. I mean, they talked about the benefit of Gulletson and Benn's relationship and them having kept it over the years, and how Jamie would be, I mean, kind of his eyes and ears in the locker room probably to see how things are going. And that's going to be a little bit harder now that he's not going to be on the ice and practice and all that stuff. So it might be a little bit harder to implement, but it's early in the season. You've got time to screw up and to get things fixed. And even if it doesn't, like James said, he's going to be back.
With Jamie Benn being hurt, does this affect the Stars' chance of starting hot? Because
yes,
we have.
That is what I said.
Okay. Because I'm not so sure it does. Because, again, I know Jamie Benn is important, but on ice stuff, he's just not the same player he was. So I'm hoping that they can still get off to a hot start. Yeah. But I also
would not. Performance though, Miss, it's his ability to help Gulletson implement the system.
Correct. And I do think that there's also a possibility the Stars can start really slow. I mean, I would not be surprised to see them get off to kind of a 500 pace for a while.
What about somewhere in the middle? Can you see that?
No.
That's not possible.
No. It's not the worst case scenario. I do not think the Stars are going to pull in Nashville and just, divot to the bottom.
What about only a little bit hot?
I hate you, Chris. You're making me overthink things. Okay, we need to move on. All right, we got to talk about some extensions here. Okay, 2 big extensions that have been signed in the last couple of days. Luke Hughes was he signed today or yesterday? I forget, but it doesn't matter. He gets a 7-year deal worth $9 million per season. Wow. Okay. He's like, I understand he's got a lot of potential there, but that seems to be.
And his last name is Hughes.
Maybe that's why, but he's not as good as his brother, Quinn in Vancouver, but he's got that same potential. And then obviously the one that everybody has been talking about is Kirill Kaprizov and the massive, enormous extension that he just signed. 8 years, $136 million in total, $17 million average annual value in terms of cap hit. First off, what do you think about both of those signings? First off, I think Hughes is a lot for me. I'm not sure if he can live up to that contract. Kaprizov, I think he's worth every single dollar that he got from Minnesota Wild. And I'll explain why here in a second. But what do y'all think?
The Kaprizov contract, I was just shocked. I mean, I was utterly befuddled.
Big number.
The reports came out and said he turned down a $16 million offer. And I thought there was no way. I thought that was a fake leak from his agent. Honestly, that's what I thought. And then here he comes, and not a few days later, he signs for 17 a year, which is just, I mean, it's insanity. And maybe this is just the market correction that had to happen. I mean, he's making $5 million more per year than Mikko Rantanen next year. For 7 years, he's going to make $5 million more than Mikko Rantanen, which just seems crazy. It makes that deal look amazing. But, I mean, we've seen Kaprizov and now Luke Hughes getting what I would say is a pretty gross overpay as well. Maybe that's just what the market is now. But I don't think so. Because still, as a percentage of the cap, this is the highest percentage of the cap that anyone has ever been paid as well for Kaprizov's contract.
So like what, 15.6 or something like that?
Yeah, it's something crazy. So it is high, and it's high net. Really, what Minnesota is doing is they're saying the cap is going to keep going up the way it is right now. It's going to keep jumping by $9 million every single year, which is I don't see that as a safe bet. That is a very aggressive bet by Minnesota.
What do you think, James?
Yeah, I think it's crazy. The one thing I will say is Kaprizov is that team. He is the reason why they've made the playoffs the last 2-3 years.
Yep.
If you don't get him signed, then the whole team is up in flames for the whole season, and you never really get a true shot with him on your team. And yeah, you're right, because he's traded. Not only that, he has a no move clause on his current contract, so you have no power either. So it's a bad situation for the entire season. You basically just burn an entire regular season, and he's probably worth that money, especially for now. Like, the team needs him now. It is nuts when you compare, like, side by side his stats to Rantanen's stats, and you're like, Kaprizov had 100-point season. Rantanen has like 3 underneath him. They're the same age, and one's getting paid $5 million more a year. So in terms of that, it's a little nuts.
So I want to throw a lot of context in here. First off, a no movement clause, when you're paying somebody that much money, that's basically just a throwaway, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, how many players who signed those giant contracts have a no movement clause? That's just assumed.
Well, I mean,
everybody gets that.
His $9 million a year has a no movement clause. So
right, but
they have no power this season.
At the time he signed to that was even seen as a gross overpay, and that wasn't true. Now, the thing I
kind of was at the time, but it aged fine. He made himself worth that money.
I want to re-echo what you said, James, is with Kaprizov and with Rantanen, it is very different situations. Like, I'm not saying the Stars would be fantastic without Rantanen, but I think they would be okay, and they would be able to tread water and doggy paddle in order to stay in the playoffs. Like, again, to re-echo what you said, if they don't have Kaprizov, the Wild, if they don't have Kaprizov, their team looks completely different. 100% completely different. He is that team. And the reason why I think it's a good contract is because he literally is the team. And yes, I know.
And with that contract, he's guaranteeing that he is going to be the team for the next 8 years, because they're not going to be able to afford anybody to play with him. They're going to keep going to the first round of the playoffs, and they're going to keep losing.
Well, that might keep happening
as a Stars
anyway,
fan, I agree with you. I hope that happens, but that's not necessarily true. And that's the other thing that I'm trying to get out of my head, and why it's kind of hard to look at this contract and say that this is the market correction, is because we've only seen the cap either be completely stagnant for 3 or 4 years, or just incrementally go up by like $2 or $3 million, and that's it. Next season, it's going to go up by $9 million, and then the season after that, it's going to go up by about $9 million. So, like you said, it's about $17 to $18 million that this is going to go up. So the percentage of the cap that he is actually going to be holding is going to be less quicker. So it's going to get down to that, 13% that everyone talks about.
But how often has the cap increase been consistent? Like, do we honestly think the cap is going to go up $9 million every year for the next 8 to 9 years of his
maybe
contract?
Not 8 to 9 years, but for the next 2 to 3 years, they have already set that in stone. That's the expectation, and like it's set in stone. This is how much the cap is going to go up that next year, and then the year after it's going to be this.
And his cap hit, or his percentage of the cap, is still going to be well over 10.
Right, but that's normal for.
You can't build around that. He's going to be playing with Matt Zuccarello for the next 8 years.
Matt Zuccarello is going to be retired pretty soon here, but
Yeah, that was the funny. But what I'm saying is his team cannot afford to buy anybody else now, and they're not a team that has developed from within other than Brock Faber.
Yeah, they already don't have anyone to play with him, and this just solidifies that they're not going to have anyone to play with him. He's playing with Matt Zuccarello on the top line. Okay, I mean,
why am I down?
For how much I love Zuccarello, he should not be on the top line at 38 years old.
I can't believe I'm defending the Minnesota Wild, but Brock Faber is not the only player they've got, guys. They've got Marco Rossi, they've got Matt Boldy, they've got Yoel Eriksson-Ek. They've got some good players there that can play around him. And Matt Boldy just signed a very good. Hold on. I can't believe I'm defending them, but I am. Matt Boldy signed a $7 million deal with them recently for a good long while. I don't remember how many years it was exactly, but Matt Boldy is a very good player. Just 4 years? Okay.
Is he close to Johnston? I would say no.
Or till 2030 is what Brock Faber's signed until.
Okay. Well, what about Matt Boldy? I don't know. But regardless, like he still has players to play with. But here's where I'm going with this, and why I think this might be a little bit of a gamble is Kaprizov has had a hard time the last couple of seasons staying healthy. That's the thing that's going to bite Minnesota in the butt. Like even last year when he was in the lineup, we've talked about it over the offseason. He would have
been the MVP.
He probably would have won the Art Ross over Connor Hellebuyck. It would have been a very close race between the two if he had kept up that pace. But he got injured, and I even remember him being injured the year before at points. It's been hard for him to play a full season. I think that's why it's such a gamble. If you're a critic of this contract, which I am not, I think this is you had to get this done. This is what you had to do if you're Bill Guerin. But that is the risk. But again, that's the risk with every player that you sign a contract to. It just seemed this is a way bigger one because this is the largest contract that we've seen in NHL history.
Just for how much Kaprizov has been hurt or not been in the NHL, because he didn't join the NHL until he was like what, 25 or 24. He was a little older. He was a little older. Mikko Rantanen has over 600 career games, and Kirill Kaprizov has just over 300. So Mikko Rantanen has twice his experience at the same age, and they're both pretty comparable, at least point-wise.
Yeah. And I will say Minnesota was kind of in a catch-22 situation because you have this superstar who is playing for your team and is willing to re-sign. And me and James' biggest critique now is he's going to be alone. Like, he's going to be the only superstar, which might be true. But even if you don't sign Kirill Kaprizov, can you really get another superstar to play in Minnesota for anything less than stupid high money like they just paid Kaprizov?
Yeah.
Probably not. That's probably what Minnesota has to do, is they have to take a huge gamble on this superstar that they have right now, who has shown that he can put up MVP numbers, and hope that he overcomes both not having the same high quality superstar line mates and overcoming the injury bug that he just seems plagued with. So it's a bad situation for Minnesota, and I'll give them credit for taking a risk. But I think it's the exact same thing as Parise and Suter. They can't get people to play in Minnesota, so they're like, okay, let's go give Parise and Suter the craziest contracts the NHL has ever seen. And they did it, and it didn't work. And they just stopped paying those guys from their buyouts. And they do the exact same thing. That might be the only way to have a superstar in Minnesota. But last time it didn't work, and they're doing it again.
They're still paying those players some, by the way. It's just under $1 million now.
Oh, okay. Well, I was about to say, I think they're still on the books, but barely.
It's $800,000 each.
But all of this makes even Jim Nill look even better with the Mikko Rantanen trade. Like, $12 million for a guy who's won the Stanley Cup. Now, remember, Kirill Kaprizov has not played in the second round of the NHL playoffs, and he's making $17 million. And
25 career playoff games.
And Mikko Rantanen is currently in the top 10 point producers in NHL playoff history. And he's making
That's
$5 million less.
That's nuts.
So now let's get to the real question. How much does McDavid sign for?
Yes. Oh, no, I wasn't going to get into that yet. We can save that for another day. But I want to make this about the Stars, because we talked about the Wild for a long time. Does this change? And you and I and James kind of hashed this out over our group text for the last couple of days in terms of, okay, now what does this look like for Robo? What does this look like for Harley? More so, what does it look like for Robo? Because this is a comparable in a way. He's not the same player as Kirill Kaprizov. He's not at the same level, I don't think. But I definitely think that number went up with that contract being signed by Kaprizov for Robo and his agent. And I want to get y'all's thoughts just out here on the podcast, what between the three of us, what we were talking about. Like, what does it look like for both of these players now that that contract has now been signed?
Yeah, so, I mean, Kaprizov signs and his Calder Trophy runner-up, Robo, I mean, you got to think he's signing for more than $12 million now. That's the initial reaction, is if he gets a long-term deal, it has to be over $12 million, right? I mean, he's not $5 million worse than Kirill Kaprizov.
I tend to agree, James.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with y'all. And then my mind goes straight to there's just not, the money's just not there for all of that. So then that's out of my hands at that point. Jim Mill can figure that out.
Right. So like Ryan was saying, next year your cap goes up $9 million. And I mean, if we're being generous, let's just, for argument's sake, you only have to split that between Robo and Harley, which isn't true, but just for argument's sake, let's say that. And yeah, you're right, James. It doesn't work. I mean, if Robo makes $13 million and that's how much the increase is, you don't have the money to give Harley even $8 million, which is probably low for a contract extension for him. So what do we do?
I know.
Throw our hands up and hope Mill figures it out.
Which he normally does. So
go ahead and pull up that last comment from Ardell, because he makes a good point here. So Ardell's comment says Robo isn't better than Rantanen. And I think that's objectively correct. But it doesn't really matter anymore because Rantanen signed in a different market. And now that this Kaprizov deal has dropped, it's different all over the board. Like, I think this and the Luke Hughes signing, which kind of confirmed it, this is the new normal for what the hockey contracts are going to be. So I think, yes, on paper, Robo should not make more than Mikko Rantanen. But if Kaprizov is making $5 million more than Mikko Rantanen, if I'm Robo, there's no way I go for $10 million. Like that's just not on the books. So I think he's at least going to get 12.
For me, and this is what I said to both of you, I find it, especially if Harley has the same season that he had last year. Like he has the same season in terms of his growth in how he plays in the NHL. And then we have true two number one defensemen and Miro and Harley. I'm not sure how we get both of them signed for under 10 million apiece. I think it's without question that Robo is over that $10 million mark. Especially with the Luke Hughes contract that he just signed, I find it very, very, very hard to see Harley sign for less than 10. I know that might seem crazy, but I really, truly think that that's where it's at. Because, I mean, Harley is by far a better defenseman than Luke Hughes. And Harley is a little bit older, but he's not that much older. He really isn't. I think Harley's, 25?
He's 24. Luke Hughes is 22.
So only 2 years. Like, it's not that huge of a difference. And maybe Hughes has a little bit more there's a little bit more weight on his name or whatever, but that doesn't matter. The GMs don't care about stuff like that. So I don't see how they get both of these guys signed for less than 10. Especially Robo is not going to happen. Harley might, but I don't think he takes less than 10.
Now that we have doom and gloomed and we have let everybody know how dire the situation is, I offer you a solution. So the
Harry,
difference,
you were talking about this too.
The difference with these players is Robo and Harley are RFAs. They are not unrestricted free agents. They are restricted. And this is their last year of it too. So technically, all the Stars have to do to retain them and have sole negotiating rights for them in this offseason is to give them a qualifying offer. So they'll be able to do that no problem. That'll be way lower than the numbers we're talking right now. Both players do have arbitration rights, which means they'll be able to negotiate between a third party that the league kind of provides and the club to decide what their contract will actually be under the RFA rules. So with that, you could get both of them both under for 10 million. If you go that RFA route, if you do that, you're getting a 1-year deal for both of them, which could make sense because guess what happens at next offseason? Tyler Seguin's contract comes off the books. And also that huge cap increase that you're talking about, Ryan, another $9 million added to the cap. So next offseason, the Stars are going to be looking at over $18 million of free cap space. And the only player that they're dropping is Tyler Seguin, who they could re-sign for a lot less than that. And all of a sudden, the numbers start to make a lot more sense. So this is one situation where I think Nil might have to squeeze them. Nil might have to squeeze Robo and Harley really hard, and it's going to maybe cause some hurt feelings. But in the end, that's how both players could get the most money in the future and how the Stars could retain both of those players without having to lose one of them, which if they try to give both big contract extensions right now, I think just won't work.
And honestly, that's part of why Jim Nill is such a great GM. He's signed Robertson's contract specifically so that it is the last year of his RFA, so that he could have that in his back pocket. I mean, that's completely planned. I mean, you could see it from a mile away. It's just, hopefully that's something that they can work out together. And like you said, Chris, 18 million of free cap space that's going to go to them.
Good finger quotes.
Well, and there's still, I don't know why the only name popping in my head is Nils Lundqvist, but Nils Lundqvist will still need a new deal next year as well. Right. So imagine he goes off, and what does he get if he goes off?
He gets Ilya Lyubushkin's money, and we trade Lyubushkin away.
If Lundqvist has a great year, he gets 3 at most, I think. I mean, it's going to take a lot more than 1 great year after 5 mediocre ones.
I agree with you, but we still have to be aware of that because we've talked about him so much over the offseason and the fact that he could be a very key guy for this team. And at least right now, like we have seen the forward lines change up and we don't really have time to talk about it all over the place. But the thing that has stayed very consistent has been those deep pairings.
Yes,
and
but any other players outside of Robo and Harley, like, don't matter. Like all the other ones that matter are signed for long
replaceable.
Term. Right.
Yes, like Fox said, no offense to him, but he is replaceable. Lyubushkin's replaceable.
Well, Fox has actually got a pretty long. He's got 3 years, so he's locked in.
For Chief, yeah, it's better than that 3.25, right, Chris?
It is much better.
All right. Well, it is a little bit of doom and gloom, but at the same time, the ability for the Stars to stay under the cap with all of these players is still a large possibility.
Nil set himself up correctly.
And and he even knew when he made the signing for Mikko Rantanen that he was going to be putting himself in a tough situation. And like imagine if we didn't have Rantanen's contract on here and we were just talking about Stankoven and these two guys. Easily
we would have Mitch Marner.
I don't know about that, but
I do.
Maybe. I think Mitch Marner always wanted to go to Vegas, but that's just me. But Okay, we got a couple of minutes. I did want to throw this in here. I thought the line that we saw at practice today with Foxa in the center and then Johnston on the left wing, and I forget who he was playing with. I thought that was the weirdest thing ever.
That's disgusting. Never say that to me ever again.
That's exactly why I'm bringing it up, because I knew Chris wouldn't like it.
Say, hey, Johnston, learn left wing. I think that's what that was.
Yeah. Well, we did see Johnston play some left wing on that second line last game with Duchesne and Sagan, and he looked fine there. We've also seen Bork play up there too. So I really hope that the three they try out on that left side on the second line is Ritzkovian, Johnston, and Bork. I mean, I think Steele is still going to be the one there game one, but I don't see how he can. I mean, we've harped on it already. I just don't see how he can execute the way you have to on that type of line.
And may I just add that I love what our fourth line is going to look like now. You have Bastian, Foxa, and Back. That is a wall of meat.
I don't, but
I love that.
See, the chat does not like you, Chris. Foxa could play all three spots on his own line.
Yeah, he could, and he would still never score. Unless he shoots at 20 miles an hour and bounces it off of another defenseman's skate. Then it goes in every time.
Did y'all see that Matt Dumba scored a power play goal today in the preseason?
He's still playing hockey?
Dang.
I mean, he's had a couple of really bad seasons, but I mean, there's some places still.
Well, anyways, on that other side with Foxa and Johnson was actually Maverick Bork. So I'm sure Chris is like dying inside a little bit with the offensive prowess of Johnston and Bork, and then he's got Foxa in the center.
The black hole of Radek Foxa literally sucks it away and spits it out into the icy cold of space, never to be heard of again.
Goals? What are goals? We've never heard of those.
We just don't let those happen.
We just skate back and forth and dump the puck in over and over again.
Right, exactly. Play perfect defense.
Dump and cycle. Don't shoot.
Yep. Hintz, Rantanen, Robertson, and then Duchesne, Sagan, and Steele are going to have to score all the goals.
No goals just from Duchesne, Sagan. Like, I mean, Steele's. Everyone's expecting it. Steele's not going to score more than 10 goals.
I don't see it. I don't know how he gets to 20. But then again, I did say the same thing about Evgeny Dodonov. I said there's no way he's getting back to 20 last year, and he did.
Dodonov has scored 20 before. Steele has never scored more than 10.
He had a hat trick in like the 8th to last game of the year too, which that's helped. Cheating.
Yeah.
Okay. Last thing, really quick. Do you like the D pairings with where they're at? Because he's thrown, he being Glenn Gulletson, has thrown out the exact same pairings for like the last 2 or 3 days, weeks, preseason games, all sorts of stuff. And that's Lindell, Heiskanen, Harley, Nils, and then Bischel and Lyubushkin. Like, if that works out, that's great. Like that, yes. the balance between that is fantastic. And I especially love that bottom pairing of Bischel and Bush, because they're just, monsters, the two biggest guys on the team in terms of height and weight, for at least on the defensive side. So that makes me really excited if that works out.
Yeah, I do like it. I worry about Lyubushkin's capability of being the veteran defenseman on that pair. I mean, even those preseason games, and again, it's preseason, people care less. We especially saw that with the top line last game. Like, there was less effort for sure. But I mean, just the plays he makes with the puck in his own zone are just really hard. And to ask a guy like Bischel to bail out an NHL veteran is just, I mean, I don't know if that really works. So we'll have to see. I still think Bischel's your fourth best defenseman on this team in actuality.
I just really think Lyubushkin just does not work with him for whatever reason. I think Lyubushkin as a defenseman, he plays fine. Just with him by Bischel, it just looks bad to me. Like, eye test wise, it just looks bad. And they got lit up in that preseason game against the Blues. And yes, preseason, as we've been saying this whole
I'm just
time.
hoping it's the
that
preseason
was more
effect.
that was more of an NHL roster from the Blues too. I mean, it's just we've seen it look bad before, and it looking bad again in preseason does not give me hope for the start of the season.
Wow. Doom and gloom even further. Jeez.
The other two pairings are great. I love looking at
and someone that we have seen play well with Bichel is Petro, and he might still be your seventh defenseman for the Dallas Stars. We'll have to see.
Sixth.
Right. Yeah. If Lyubushkin, if that's not just preseason Lyubushkin and that's actual Lyubushkin, then yeah, he might be the sixth.
So are we in agreement that Petro is the number 7 and Kolyachonok's probably going to the AHL, and you get to see him a lot in Cedar Park, Chris?
If he gets sent down, I think he's getting claimed. So I don't think I will see him in Cedar Park. But
I'm not sure he does.
Petro's probably going to be the 7th.
I'm not sure he does, to be honest with you. But I mean, maybe
he's got sent on waivers 3 times in the last 2 years and got claimed every time.
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah.
Say that I didn't know.
So, yeah. And I think Pittsburgh got him twice, so they might just get him a third time just to kind of round it out.
Yeah, they'll be like, we just got Matt
Third
Dumba and a draft pick for free. It was just like, dude, you can keep Matt Dumba. Okay, guys, we got to wrap it up. You got anything else for us tonight?
That's it.
Yep. Again, I apologize for my technical difficulties. I'll make sure that I'm actually better prepared next time, and hopefully that will not happen again. So thank you, everyone who has been following along with us live here this evening. You're nuts. It's 10:51 on a Wednesday night. Go to bed. But for those of you who are listening afterwards, which there's even more of you who are doing so, we appreciate you guys just as much. If you're watching on YouTube, please consider clicking like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode of Starcastic Remarks. If you're listening on the audio side afterwards, we appreciate y'all as well. Leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast platform of choice. We would also really appreciate that as well. Make sure you join the Who Cares Club for $5 a month to kind of help us support us and what we do here. And as always, we appreciate our sponsor, DraftKings Sportsbook. Use that promo code THPN. Alongside Chris, alongside James, my name is Ryan. We'll catch you guys on the flip side. We hope you guys have a fantastic morning, afternoon, evening. Whenever you guys are listening, we got one more preseason game, and then the real games actually come back. Go Stars.